Hey, we're not reviewing X-Men.
Yeah, we'll eventually.
Yeah,
maybe sometime this week.
Yeah, maybe
Summer.
if it comes out soon, we'll check it out
Eventually.
But here's the thing: today we're going to be looking on a
ratings
very underrated movie that came out that came out in Britain last year, but was never released in Canada. That film is Macbeth.
Yeah,
It's based
really
on
good.
the play by William Shakespeare.
And it's directed by the guy who directed, or is gonna direct the new Fassbender, or the new Assassin's Creed movie, right?
Seriously, how can you go from Shakespeare to Assassin's Creed?
Well,
now?
Assassin's Creed's good, like in the sense that it's a good concept and it's like a cool idea to do like a blockbuster. No, Assassin's Creed like really cinematic video game, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it's just that I have a feeling the movie's going to look great, but it's not going to be great.
I was 100% on board up to the point when they said it's going to be 35% in the past, 65% in the present, and I was like, oh, come. The whole point of the Assassin's game is the past. Like 99%
It's kind of
the
like
game is in the past.
If in Back to the Future, most of the screen time in the movie is being in the present.
Like, what are they gonna do in the present? Like, who?
I don't know.
Like, who the hell cares? Go back, because like Spain looks awesome. Like the action's gonna be great. Fassbender's gonna be great. Let's just fucking go to Spain.
Yeah, but before we give our thoughts on this movie, let's talk about like the whole backstory of this version of Macbeth. Now, this movie was first introduced at Cannes Film Festival, and
it won.
Yeah, it won big. It won a ton of awards there, and unfortunately was not released around here in Canada. It got released in Britain, and
I don't think people would see it in Canada. Probably not. Like, maybe there'd be like 4 old dudes in the back just being like, "Yay!" But no one else would care.
And to be fair, I have a feeling that if it did get released here, it would probably bomb. And that,
no doubt.
Mostly because it is a Shakespeare movie. I don't feel like Shakespeare doesn't make a lot of money these days.
Also, it's boring. 95%, like 99% of the time, it's boring. Like reading in school sucks. Had to do that this year again. It's terrible. It's awful.
We're graduating, right?
Yeah,
in a couple of days.
It sucks so much.
Man,
I hate it.
I know.
But this movie is awesome.
Yeah, because let's get this out of the way. Because the thing about a lot of Shakespeare adaptations nowadays is that my big problem is that they really don't take themselves very seriously. Like, for example, the terrible modern-day Romeo and Juliet movie that basically takes place in modern day, has guns, and they still have that same Shakespearean dialogue.
Yeah, it doesn't get terrible reviews, dude. I'm so surprised. Like, why don't people think this is terrible? Because it's so... Like, even Leonardo DiCaprio couldn't save that. Like, that movie's just kind of a mess.
But I heard
he does pretty good in it, I guess. But, like, the whole movie's just a mess.
It's just... Yeah, whereas this movie on the other hand, right here, I'm holding this right here. I own it on Blu-ray. Takes Shakespeare's material 100% seriously. The first thing I love about this movie is
the opening act.
Yeah, because the thing is that I heard that in the book, this scene where like this battle doesn't happen in the book. It's basically just told. It's someone basically telling us what happens. Basically, the outcome of the battle. Whereas here, we actually get to see it, and I'm going to say, Zack Snyder is probably now. This is how you direct a movie.
Yeah, because it's not like that guy made any good movies like Watchmen or 300 or Man of Steel. Okay, he had one okay movie. Let's divert this back. No, we're talking about fucking Macbeth. I don't give a shit.
Okay, I'm sorry.
This movie's like the beginning part's awesome. There's a great mix of like the fog, just like all the guys are really scared. They're all young. The makeup
they're kids.
They're wearing,
they're children.
Looks great. Then like the slow mo, like when the armies are running together, like when he's going down, and then he goes back to fast. And, like the kid, see his throat just slowly getting cut.
Yeah, not to mention that the reason why I love this opening scene is that to me it gives us everything we need to know about Macbeth's character through visuals rather than dialogue, because it shows us that he's very ambitious. He's someone who who is basically just kind of is trying to basically become a king one day, but the problem with that is that he also doubts himself, and his doubt is kind of what leads to a lot of the tragedy that happens.
And then they go through now they go to take out Duncan, when they go through that whole thing. He does it. First of all, Duncan's played by I don't know the actor's name, but he's Remus in Harry Potter. And he's awesome.
But going to the acting, I'll say is Michael Fassbender was born to play Macbeth and Magneto.
Yeah, this might be his best performance. It could definitely be. Like, for example, back to the one scene I was talking about. Like, he just going back and forth, and he's banging his head against the wall. He's like, oh, what am I going to do? Should I do this? Should I do that? He's struggling with it so much. Yeah, and then when they finally get to it, they build it up so well. And they finally put it through, and you just feel like the huge effects.
Because when someone dies in this movie, you feel the impact. The violence of this movie, it's probably one of the few times where it doesn't feel Hollywoodized. It feels vicious and grisly.
Yeah, and then they go to the response to this is the best. Marion Cotillard is great at being cold for most of this movie. Then she has her arc, but at the beginning she's amazing at convincing him, also pushing him to do it. But the response to whoever plays Macduff, he is amazing.
He's so good.
Shit when he sees Duncan dead. Like, he pukes. He just literally is like, and then yaks all, because that's what we would fucking do. I would yak.
Would you yak? Yeah, so far the acting from everyone is great. Like, especially like Marion Cotillard and Michael Fassbender, because they both have this great sinister bond with each other. Like, the scene when they both interact, and she's kind of like encouraging him to kill Duncan, and you kind of like see, and you kind of like, and Macbeth, and not to mention that when Macbeth finally does get his power, he honestly doesn't really know what to do with it.
And they really make the witches really creepy. Like, whoever they all play them, they have like four. One's like a little girl, and just like they're all creepy, and they all go off their lines.
They basically tell them
shit every time
they tell them
they go there.
Yeah, they basically tell. Yeah, because this so far it might be the most visually breathtaking movie I've seen all year, because it feels like a play, like a cinematic play, but in the best kind.
Yeah, like, everything just feels like there's no, like, extra, like, they cut out huge parts, because I had to read this in grade 10, so they cut out huge parts of the play, everything's in Scotland, there's, like, a part of the play where they kind of go to England and come back, and they hack that out, they hack a ton of things out, and it feels, like, right, like, the pacing's good, it's quick. Some people say, oh, this movie, sometimes the scenes end too early. Nah, like, this movie just goes and goes and goes and goes, and there's time when they let it sit, like, there's monologues where they just keep going, like, Marion Cotillard, how great was her monologue near the end?
Yeah, where she's talking to, spoiler alert, her dead child. Yeah,
it's because 500 years, or I don't know how old. It's like 500 years old. If you don't, who cares? Who fucking cares?
Yeah, exactly.
You probably had to read this in grade 10 too. So who gives a shit?
But the thing, the thing about, and also there's not to mention that one of the reasons I love about this take on the story is that they do stay true to the themes and ideas of the story while also maintaining ideas of their own. Like, for example, the children being a constant metaphor. Like, we see children are being killed in the opening. We see children being burned alive later on in the film. And not to mention that the movie ends with a child running with a sword into the fiery abyss.
Yeah, because apparently, like, whoever, like, that kid, what's the guy's name? But Banquo's kid is, like, gonna grow up to be the King of England. I don't know how or why, but that's apparently what happens. That was a cool thing, how, like, whoever, like, walks in with the swords, the kid goes in and grabs the swords. And how great was, the wishes, they set up this prop scene, it's like, okay, so no way he can die because of that, and the way that, in the book, they just have because it's like, oh, until the Forest of Dunsinane moves to the castle, and this one, it's like, oh, well, just, like, they put, like, in the play, they just cut off tree branches and put them on their heads to make it look like the forest is going that way, just to, like, to confuse the other side, and this one, instead, they burn it down.
They burn down. It becomes
apocalyptic
and hellish.
Yeah, it's so much better. Like, whoever this guy is, do it.
Exactly.
Justin Kurzel, he did a better job than he did a better job than Shakespeare in that sense.
Yeah, because
so
and
awesome.
also the thing I want to go back to the movie's big theme and idea is that the movie's theme is the dangers of ambition, because Macbeth is basically letting his own ambitions of power for the sake of power basically corrupt him, and to the point where by the end nothing is really accomplished. As he says so in the story, life just becomes a tale told by an idiot that signifies nothing.
All the lines are so great. Like, that's why you hate this when you have to read it in school, but, like, the lines are so good when they're in a movie played by Fassbender.
And Cotillard, like, great.
Otherwise, you'll hate
because this. And not to mention that that going back to the violence, the final confrontation between Macbeth and Macduff. Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty
that
great.
was epic.
They just hacked at each other for the whole time. So
good. Go.
Yeah, it was pretty great. Can you think of any negatives for this movie?
Not really.
Maybe a couple of scenes could have had the time to breathe. Maybe every now and then you can't hear the dialogue as well as it could have. A lot of it's like, if you don't like the movie, it's because you don't like the style it was made. And
I think that's why.
The style. So I'm struggling to come up with ways how I didn't like it. Maybe just sometimes the speed of a couple scenes is a bit jarring. I can't.
But it's very minor in between, not anything legitimately major.
Yeah, exactly.
But one thing I'll say before we go is that, why do you think, like, a movie like this Shakespeare movie, didn't get as much attention as it deserved?
Because it's a Shakespeare movie. People aren't gonna, like, in terms of money, like, this movie was made just for canes and all that stuff. It wasn't made to go and be a hit at the box office.
It wasn't. And not
got what it was going to. Maybe it could have gone some Oscar stuff, but it wasn't.
It's just that, like, the people like you and I who enjoy it really do enjoy it. It's just that it's not. It's kind of like an underground hit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
like
guess.
An underrated.
It's not like Fight Club.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, not Fight Club underground hit where the critics didn't like it, because the critics loved this at Cannes.
Yeah, they did. And I think it's just that type of smaller movie for that type of small. It could have, maybe hit some Oscars, but it's just the way it was made was just kind of a couple people. They just didn't like the style. And I get that. Yeah,
because to me, if you want to introduce yourself to Shakespeare and any of those classic stories,
non-forcibly through English class,
this is probably the way you can do it. In fact,
teachers should show this instead of we watched like a 60-year-old version of a movie, and it was so bad. And I was like, but it was easier to understand if you want to get the kids
like this.
I mean, there's a lot of violence, and I think there's sex in this. I can't remember.
Well, maybe it's more violence, but it's mostly the fact that it does a great job with the dialogue, but a lot of my favorite moments are basically where it demonstrates the themes and ideas through, like, visual cues, which is, to me, because I'm a huge fan of, like, visual storytelling, which is kind of, like, a big reason why I'm a fan of stuff like, the works of Kubrick, mostly because he kind of tells his stories visually.
Just skip teachers just skip some of the iffy parts.
And kind of, like, show that, maybe if you can, just show them that opening scene of the battle, and maybe kind of, like, maybe get them to analyze, like, the opening of to see, like, why, like, children are being sent in this war to die, and why, and really understand, like, why, about the themes of ambition that this movie really got across well.
Alright, so let's do our ratings. I guess.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I really looked like more. I tried to come up with like what I couldn't like about.
It's very minor. It's kind of like how in Civil War
I can't. It's not I think I remember not giving a full A+ to like The Force Awakens, and there's a couple other movies, and I don't like this quite as much as, say, like, The Force Awakens or anything like that, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's so awesome. Like, the performances are all amazing, the direction's amazing, and this team is a great fit for Assassin's Creed. Too bad it's going to be all modern day and boring, but that 35% will be amazing, and that's because I think this movie's a A+. Nick?
Yeah, and I'll say,
what's your rating?
To quickly go, before I'm going to give my finishing monologue, is that the thing is that while I do have some minor things kind kind of like how if you're not fully in tune to the style of this movie, you're probably not going to enjoy it that much. But I'll say
bored.
like some of the like again, much like how I said about went on an annoying tangent about Civil War. The complaints I do have with this movie are very minor and in between and are not extremely noticeable, because this movie to me is what a great Shakespeare story should be. It's dark, it's complex, it's smart, it's tragic, and it's visually interesting. It's to me what a great tragic story should be about one man who's letting his own ambition guide him, which is why I'm gonna give Macbeth an A+.
Ooh, yay.
A+.
Alright,
Yeah,
so, good
Yeah,
talk.
all I
Awesome movie, A+'s for both of us. I don't know if there's been a movie so far we've all given it, like, with
Civil
both of
War.
us. Yeah, Civil War.
That and Civil War.
These are... I like Civil War like maybe this much more. But there's not a lot of room. Like, it's right up there. It's one of the best movies of 2015. It'd be in my top 10 of 2015, maybe even my top 5.
To me, it's kind of more like one of my big two favorite. This and Civil War are like my two big favorite movies of this year, mostly because I saw it this year.
Sure.
And personally, and not to mention that, all I'll say is that even though I have a feeling Assassin's Creed isn't going to be very good because it's a video game movie, but I have a feeling it's still going to look amazing, because if there's one thing that this guy can do is make an amazing looking movie.
Alright, so we'll see you next time.
See you for Suicide Squad.